What is up, you guys? Ryan Brewer back here, the host of Michael Myers Reacts. I am here today for Ranking Podcast 3. Today, as you could tell from the title, I am going to be ranking the Friday the 13th franchise. I am once again going to go from best to worst. So yeah, I got my notebook here again with my list. I've been doing that for all these ranking podcasts so far. If you guys did enjoy ranking podcast 1 and 2, let me know in the comment section down below, and also let me know if you guys enjoyed this ranking podcast, if you guys are liking this little series going on. So today on this ranking podcast, I am ranking the Friday the 13th franchise, which you could tell from the title. I have 10 films to rank today, so I'm not 100% sure how long this podcast is going to be. I'm going to guess it's going to be pretty decent because we have 10 films to talk about. I will not be including the Friday the 13th remake from 2009. If you guys remember on my ranking podcast 2, which was about Nightmare on Elm Street, I did not include the Nightmare on Elm Street remake in 2010, so on this one I will not be talking about the Friday the 13th 2009 reboot. I'm not putting that in the list. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. Just like my ranking podcast 1 and ranking podcast 2, my number 1 on the list is Friday the 13th, 1980, the original Friday the 13th. So for ranking podcast 1, my favorite was Halloween 1978. Nightmare on Elm Street franchise podcast, it was a Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984, and now the third ranking podcast, which is this one, Friday the 13th, my favorite is Friday the 13th, 1980. Now, the reason why this is my favorite, because it's very, very enjoyable. I love Friday the 13th. The original is a horror movie that we haven't seen at that time. You know, the twist at the end that the killer is a female, is a woman, is a shocker. You know, if you don't know, which you should, so I'm not going to say spoiler warning, but the killer in Friday the 13th from 1980 is Pamela Voorhees, which is Jason Voorhees' mother. So that was a huge twist, and we didn't know the whole movie of Friday the 13th. We don't know who the killer is until like the last 15 to 20 minutes of the film, and you know, we find out that it's Pamela Voorhees, which is crazy. It's a big twist. You know, at the time, I don't think there was too many female killers. You know, so it was a big twist for it, and Friday the 13th wanted to do something a little different. I mean, you watch the film, and you know, you see the characters get killed off. Some people, probably mostly at the time, seeing the movie in 1980, like in theaters, at the time they were probably like, this is a man. This is probably a man killing people. But at the end of the movie, like I said, you find out that it's Pamela Voorhees. And I love the tone of the movie. It's just so good. It's like, it's just so enjoyable for me. I just love it. It's really good. The tone is good. The way that it's, you know, the way that it's filmed, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, there wasn't, in 1980, they didn't have as much technology as we do now. So, like, the lighting wasn't the best, but it worked for it because, you know, the dark scenes, you know, it just worked for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you do definitely get it's definitely an 80s, 70, it's kind of like a 70/80 feel to it. It feels like an 80s movie, and it looks like an 80s movie, but it's great. If you have not seen the original Friday the 13th, go watch the original Friday the 13th. So let's just go ahead and get right into number 2 on my list, and that has to go to Friday the 13th Part 4, The Final Chapter. Now, I actually just got done watching Friday the 13th Part 4 right before I made this podcast. Friday the 13th Part 4, The Final Chapter, is my second favorite in the entire franchise because it's just so freaking good. Now, I do know that Friday the 13th Part 3 is when we first see Jason with the hockey mask, but this, like, Friday the 13th Part 4, The Final Chapter, it takes place right after the Part 3, you know. The characters in the film, dang, I forgot her name already. I'm going blank. But Tommy Jarvis, you know, all that, the story about Tommy Jarvis and all that stuff, and Jason in Friday the 13th Part 4, The Final Chapter, is phenomenal to me. Man, who played him in Friday the 13th Part 4? Fuzz. I might have to look that up here in a second. I want to know who played. Hold on. Let me ask Google. Who played Jason Voorhees in Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter?
Jason Voorhees was played by Ted White.
Ted White. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. I forgot who played him. Ted White played Jason in Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter. He did a phenomenal job at playing Jason. I love it. It's just great. Number 3 on my list, we're going to go ahead and get right into number 3, goes to Friday the 13th Part 3. Now, Friday the 13th Part 3 is obviously when Jason first gets the hockey mask. I watched that earlier this morning as well, but the dude, I can't remember names. I'm apparently terrible with names, but the one kid with the weird hair and he wears the mask in the movie and he's like, "Who would love this face?" or something. That was the girl's date or whatever. He's the guy who ran over the dude's bike in Part 3. I can't think of his name. He drove the little like yellow slug bug thing, but he was pranking people with that mask on, and that's how Jason got the mask in Friday the 13th Part 3. But the kills in Part 3 was good as well. And the ending to Part 3 is really good. Like, Part 3 is definitely up there with Part 4 for me. Like I said, but Friday the 13th Part 4 I like better than Part 3. But Friday the 13th Part 3 is up there with Part 4 to me. Like, those are... I guess... They're definitely two of my favorite. That's why Part 4 is number 2 and Part 3 is number 3. But the ending to Friday the 13th Part 3 was good. Like the scene where he's chasing her and like all that good stuff. Like the ending to Friday, like the movie's kind of slow at first, I'll admit. The first maybe the first 45, 50 minutes or more of Friday the 13th Part 3 is a little bit slow, but it's mostly character development, which is a good thing. You want them to have character development. You want to get kind of attached to the characters and get the characters well known. But when you get to the ending scene and you start to see Jason more, when you first see Jason with the hockey mask and he kills that girl with the harpoon, dude, that scene, I love how he walks away, like the way he just walks away after he's like aiming at her, right, and he just shoots her and he just walks away. Like, I love that scene. It's like, dude, this is good. Like, this is where it's gonna get good. Friday the 13th Part 3 is special to a lot of the Friday the 13th fans, which, well, I am a Friday the 13th fan, but it is special because that's when he first gets the hockey mask, and we love the hockey mask. I do. I love the hockey mask. Let me know in the comment section down below if you guys love Jason with the hockey mask, or do you guys prefer the potato sack with the one hole or whatever. But yeah, number 3 on my list goes to Friday the 13th Part 3. Number 4 on my list goes to Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. Now, to me, this is where the change up for Friday the 13th happened. Well, I think it's for everyone, I'm pretty sure. If you're a Friday the 13th fan, you know what I'm talking about. But Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, is where the franchise kind of took a turn. Not necessarily a bad way. Jason was seen more, if you will. That's how I see it. In Friday the 13th Part 6, you see more Jason in the film than you did with the first 4 films. Well, the first 5. And the kills were a lot more, I can't really say brutal, because there were some brutal kills before that, but Friday the 13th Part 6 was when you really start to see Jason more. And the actors in Friday the 13th Part 6 are just amazing. Like, the actors did great. The guy who played Jason did great. Hold on, let me tell you what his name is. I'm sorry, I'm not good with names. I am so sorry. C.J. Graham. I couldn't think of his... Why am I forgetting names? It's like after I hear the name, then I'm like, oh yeah, that's his name. But C.J. Graham played Jason Voorhees. And Sheriff Michael in the movie, dude, he was a great actor. I loved his character in Friday the 13th Part 6. I think he did a phenomenal job. As well as just C.J. Graham, he did great as Jason as well. At least to me. He ain't no, like, Kane Hodder, but he's good. He is very good. Kane Hodder actually isn't my favorite Jason. Just saying, he's probably my second favorite Jason. Number 5 on my list has to go to Friday the 13th Part 2. I'm looking this as sequel-wise because Friday the 13th Part 1 from 1980, I almost said 1990, from 1980 is great. Friday the 13th Part 2, the sequel is like, I don't it's not as good as part one. I know it's the first movie we actually get to see Jason actually killing, and the sack thing. Jason, to me, well, I don't know what you guys think, but to me, Jason is super super stupid. And Friday 13th Part Two, he's just so stupid. And then, okay, if you compare Jason from Friday 13th Part Two to Jason from Friday 13th Part Three, he gets a lot smarter in Friday 13th Part Three. Like, he was a lot smarter. Like when they first went to that barn in part three, and he puts the wood thing on the barn doors so she couldn't escape. Like, that's smart. Like he's not as dumb as we think in that one. But in Friday 13th Part Two, he's just stupid. Like, she was, what's her name? Oh Lord, see, I'm terrible with names. I need to write names down. But the main girl in Friday 13th Part 2, she's like hiding in that bush in that one scene, and Jason runs around the corner. She kicks him in the balls. Like, he's just stupid in that one. Which is why it's number 5 on my list. Now we're starting to get into the in Friday the 13th. Number 6 on my list has to go to Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood. A lot of people call it like the Carrie ripoff. You got the girl who's like not psychic, but like she's like supernatural. Like, it's just weird. But then again, Jason's supernatural in that one as well. But Friday 13th Part 7, The New Blood, is when Kane Hodder first played Jason. So it's not bad. Like, I like the film. I know a lot of people do not like it, which I see why. It's not perfect, but I enjoy it for what it is, I guess. When it comes to horror slashers for me, like, I know that horror slashers has its good and bad films, but I can stand its bad films. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm such a big slasher horror fan, that if there's a bad film, but if it's not incredibly bad, like, let's see, the worst film, I'll get to that later, but the worst film in the Child's Play franchise is Seed of Chucky. That movie is so bad, like, it's almost unwatchable, but I could still watch it, because I'm just that big of a horror fan. So yeah, Friday 13th Part 7, The New Blood, is number 6 on my list. So number 7 on my list, which is no surprise, is Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, which Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, it's not even in Crystal Lake. It's pretty much Jason on a boat the whole time. They should have called it Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes a Boat Cruise. He's pretty much on a boat the entire time. And the film is called Jason Takes Manhattan. They don't actually get to Manhattan until like the last 15 to 20 minutes of the movie. And it's just, I don't know, like, you guys had a terrible title for that movie. And who freaking came up with the idea of having Jason go to Manhattan? Like, what? Like, all the films before that is at Crystal Lake, and the writers must have been like, let's see, Crystal Lake, they did that plenty of times. We just gonna have him go to Manhattan. But yeah, I don't know who came up with the idea of having Jason go to Manhattan. That's just stupid. Like, he should be in Crystal Lake. Jason should not be going to freaking Manhattan. And it's like I said, he's only in Manhattan for like the last 15 to 20 minutes of the movie, maybe 25 minutes. Basically, it's him on a boat. It should be called, like I said, Friday 13th Part 8, Jason Takes a Boat Cruise or something. So yeah, number 7 on my list goes to Friday 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Number 8 on my list goes to Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning, which, oh man, Friday the 13th Part 5 is not good to me. For one, Jason isn't even in the film. Like, how are you going to make a Friday the 13th movie without freaking Jason Voorhees? And this is the 5th movie in the franchise. Like, Jason has been on there since Part 2. So you should have Jason. Now, if you don't understand why I'm saying, oh, well, Jason's not in Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning, there is a copycat killer in Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning, which is really, really stupid. Like, the whole movie, you pretty much think that it's Jason, and then at the end you find out that it's not Jason. And, well, maybe it was before no, it's the end, but you find out that it's not Jason, and it's like, what is the point of this movie? Like, why did you even put this in the franchise if it has nothing to do with the Voorheeses? It has nothing to do with Jason. It has nothing to do with Jason. Like, that's the thing. It's just you wanted to make a random Friday the 13th movie. Like, I don't understand who came up with that idea either. Like then again, like I said, the writers for Friday the 13th Part 8, they were like, well, let's just have Jason go to Manhattan. But I guess the writers on Friday the 13th Part 5 was like, let's not even put Jason in it. Let's just make a copycat killer. Like, that is so stupid. Like, it's just a waste of a movie. Like, you could watch that movie. I barely watch that movie. I'll be watching it again here soon because I'm actually going through the Friday 13th franchise right now. I've been watching them again. I just finished part 4 of the final chapter. So guess what's next? Friday 13th Part 5, A New Beginning, when Jason isn't even in the film. It just sucks. Number 9 on my list goes to Jason Goes to Hell. This movie is, again, what is up with the writers? Like, for one, Jason is like going into different people's bodies. Like, it is just so stupid. The majority of the movie isn't like Jason is just going into people's bodies. Like, that's just so stupid. Now, Jason Goes to Hell was like the movie before Freddy vs. Jason, because if you know at the end of Jason Goes to Hell, it shows like Jason's mask and like the sand or whatever, and Freddy's hand glove comes up and grabs the mask and like pulls it under. So you know that Jason Goes to Hell is like the movie before Freddy vs. Jason. But the movie's just terrible. It's just Jason's going through different people's bodies and having other people pretty much kill for him. Like, it's just weird. It's just stupid. Like, I think people put too much thought into movies. Like, when you get that far into a franchise, where, what was Jason Goes to Hell? Wasn't that the 9th one in the? Yes, Jason Goes to Hell was Friday 13th Part 9, pretty much. So when you're that far into a franchise, if you have that many sequels, I get it. You're running out of ideas. You don't know what to do, but you can come up with something better than that. At some point, you should think to yourself, like, this is dumb. Like, you should, the writers for Jason Goes to Hell and Friday 13th Part 5 should have been like, what am I thinking? This is stupid. And Friday 13th Part 8. So Part 8, Part 5, and Jason Goes to Hell, and maybe even New Blood. They should have been like, well, New Blood isn't as terrible as people say. I don't think it's like the worst. It's not good. It's certainly not better than Part 4 or Part 3, but yeah, the writer should have been like, what am I thinking? Like, what am I reading here? Jason Goes to Hell. Okay, that's a decent title, I guess. You can make a movie called Jason Goes to Hell. Because at the time, it was all just Friday the 13th. There was no movie with just Jason in it. And then Jason Goes to Hell. So that's kind of a creative title. But the movie script, they should have been like, what am I reading here? Somebody burn this script for me? Because it's just terrible. So number 9 on my list has to go to Jason Goes to Hell. Because it's just trash. Number 10, last but certainly least, oh my lord, what are they thinking? It just gets even worse, people. So this is basically Friday the 13th Part 10. It's not called that. It is called Jason X. If you haven't seen Jason X, good. Don't watch Jason X. Even if you're trying to watch a whole franchise, you could at least go to Jason Goes to Hell, but do not watch Jason X. Do not watch Jason X. They should have called it Jason Goes to Space, because the plot, or the main idea of the story, Jason's in space. It is just and the Jason in it is called like Uber Jason or something. Jason X is just trash. Now, it does have one good kill in it. One good kill. I don't like the movie at all. I think the kills were weak. I think everything about the movie was weak except for one kill where he like freezes that girl's face up and then he just smashes her face like glass. Like, it's pretty gross. But that's the best thing about Jason X. If you're trying to watch that movie just for that kill, just watch the clip on YouTube. Do not waste your time watching Jason X. It is just pure trash. If you watch Jason X, you would know what I'm talking. I know a lot of you out there who are listening to this have seen Jason X and know that Jason X is not a good movie. Then again, like I said earlier, what are they thinking? They were reading the script and they're like, oh, he's in space, dude, let's make the movie. Like, no, that is stupid. Jason X should have never been created. As soon as if someone came up to me and gave me the idea, like gave me a script, right? Let's say this, the script says Jason X. I'm like, okay, I get it. X in Roman numerals is 10. I'll be like, okay, I get it. This is the 10th Friday 13th. Not a terrible title, but as soon as I read the script and it was like, Jason's in space, Uber Jason, they're on this spaceship or whatever, I would have been like, take this script and burn it. Do not make this movie. You can come up with something more creative than that. You do not need to make a freaking movie about Jason going to space. Like, come on now. Oh, man. And then, like I said, I'm not going to talk about the remake, so that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed my Ranking Podcast 3. If you guys did enjoy this series, as I said, please like and subscribe, comment. If you enjoyed the first Ranking Podcast and the second Ranking Podcast, let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys on the next Ranking Podcast. Peace.